Welcome back to another video on the Honda powered Porsche. If you don't know me, my name's Sebastian. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to this video. In the last video, we basically had our plans foiled by a silicone O-ring. Since then, I've received a new one from TracTuff, and we're going to get that Honda bonded into the groove that's there, and then basically clean up the water plate surfaces and get it re-Honda bonded, and then basically all back together. We also got a alternator belt in the mail, so we're going to install that. Then we're going to basically bleed the system. Hopefully we'll get that sorted. I know a lot of comments were saying that I might have to vacuum bleed it. We'll see. I'm not 100% sold that I will, but if we do, we do. Very simple. Let's get this water plate cleaned off and let's get the O-ring reinstalled. So, super happy with how the water plate cleaned up. That piece of billet is just phenomenal. Like, TracTuff have done an amazing job with that piece. Now I have to clean the rest of the Honda bond off of the block, so we'll get that going. Once that's done, I'm going to Honda bond the O-ring into the groove on the actual water plate, and then basically Honda bond around where the plate goes onto the engine block, and then bolt it all back up. So Rob was kind enough to send two, just in case it happens again, I guess. But yeah, so that O-ring goes in there. It's a super tight fit. Like, super tight fit. Oh, see, that feels much better. I feel like the last time I did this, it did not work out that way at all. So I'm 99.99% sure that the O-ring didn't slip then. Everything cleaned up nicely. We got the Honda bond laid up nicely too. Everything is kind of torqued up, ready to go. So the next step is to reconnect the water line hose to the water plate, and then we can reinstall the alternator. Off camera, I started putting water in the system. The water plate no longer has a leak. The silicone O-ring is in the right spot. It all sealed fine with the Honda bond. And as you can see, we have water in there. I need to go and grab the battery out of the A3 so that we can plug it in and we can run the water pump to assist in bleeding the system, make sure that there's no air pockets, all that kind of good stuff. So we're gonna go do that right now. It looks to have been bled. We've got no more bubbles coming up. We're full. I can hear the water pump circulating water. I think we're ready to start it for the first time. There's no leaks at any of the AN fittings. We're looking pretty solid. There's no leaks back here. You can I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up, but you can hear the water pump's going. It's circulating water. We got no bubbles. I think we're gonna start it. That was absolutely nerve-wracking. I was more nervous about that startup than the previous one where there was no exhaust, nothing. Now we have a manifold. It's a little bit quieter. The idle target is at 1400 RPM, so it's going to be loud. I'm basically going to reinstall the wheel now that I'm confirmed that the water pump isn't going to leak. And then basically move it out into the neighborhood and see if we can get any more air, if there is air in the water system, but I'm pretty sure that bled no problem, which is kind of how I thought it was gonna go. Yeah, I am extremely happy with that. So let's get this wheel back on, let's get the seat mounted in, and let's go for a drive. Now that the wheel's back on the ground, I'm a little nervous about the clearance that I have, which you'll see is really non-existent with that top one. So what I'm actually thinking is the bottom I'm going to run along here, just like they did with the oil lines. So we'll take this wheel off, we're gonna make a makeshift kind of mount to put these to that point, and then kind of get back onto it. So I'm gonna cut this and basically try and mount them to this bit instead. Let's see how we go there. Always cut away from you, Seb. Did they not teach you anything at school? Honestly, no. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be pretty easy. I basically wanna tuck that under there and this one down here. I'm 99% sure that that's going to clear everything. I might need to redo this hose. coolant temp went up. I really need an exhaust, but coolant temp is at 47 degrees Celsius. So that at least we're getting the engine warm. That's something. It moved under its own power, holding water. So I found a nice little puddle under there. And I have a strong feeling it's from one of these hoses. So, but overall, looks to be pretty solid. The next day, I kind of just got stuck in. I took the exhaust manifold off. I've welded in the O2 sensor bung to where I can, and basically that should be enough to get a reading to the O2 sensor. So yeah, you can see that we've welded it all up. It's all sealed. It's all solid. I'm going to reinstall it, and then I'm going to grab the battery out of the A3 again and basically go through the whole thing again that I did 2 days ago now, or yesterday, I think, and see if it idles less than 4,000 RPM. Now that the O2 sensor is installed, I'm going to grab the battery out of the A3 again, get it all hooked up, run the water pump, make sure that that's still all correct, and then basically start the car and pull it outside so that we can let it warm up and see if the fans kick on. Kind of terrifying, and it's going to be super loud. Holy moly! Fucking disaster. Disaster. So who knows how hot I just got that. But that's the one I was worried about. So yeah, that fitting and that silicone thing that I basically found on the internet does not work.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So now that I kind of have sat with it for the last half an hour, I'm disappointed. I knew that hose wasn't going to hold. I should have forked out the money for the pump that has the bungs welded up for you instead of trying to use this like slip-on piece. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed. I think it's okay to document that I'm bummed. I think anyone would be. We got so close to like actually taking this for a rip around the block, and it just didn't happen. So it's super loud. We need to get an exhaust, or at least some kind of piping sorted. I also discovered that the throttle body wasn't actually calibrated properly. It had a calibration warning, and so I recalibrated it. I pulled the car in a little bit under its own power because I was worried that I'd smoked the clutch, but the clutch feels fine, so I'm not sure why it slipped, but it definitely slipped. So I guess the next steps are really figuring out this water pump issue, which is going to most likely cost me $800-ish, which I just don't have right now. And then the next thing is probably dropping the engine and gearbox and pulling the gearbox apart from the engine and inspecting the clutch and whether or not I need to get a new clutch. I'm not so sure about that. So either way, quite a few steps back today, which is definitely disappointing. I think that ultimately we're getting closer, and I really don't want to just start throwing money at problems, but I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. I was hoping this would have ended on a much higher note. Sorry that it didn't, but I have a plan in my head of what to do next. I just need to save some cash, and that's what we're going to do. So in the meantime, I'm probably not going to upload any videos until I have something worthwhile showing. Make sure you follow the Instagram. I'll probably document a lot more over there for the time being. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Thanks again for liking, commenting, and subscribing. On to the next one.